Two major updates are coming from Canada. First, the backlog for Canada's temporary resident visa is continuously increasing, which is causing delays in the processing time for study visas and visitor visas. Second, Canada's target for the number of students they aim to bring in for 2024 and issue visas to seems unlikely to be met. This statement was made by the President of Universities Canada, which is a significant statement in itself. Both of these updates are very important, so make sure to watch the video till the end. Before that, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, as you'll find similar informative videos there. Let's first talk about the backlog 2,364,700 applications as of July 31st. According to the embassy, these applications are being processed. But what's even more interesting is that IRCC's service standard time has been exceeded for 1 million. That is, 10 lakh applications. That means they are taking more time. This means that for any category, say for example a temporary resident visa with a standard processing time of 45 days, there are 10 lakh applications that have not been processed within that 45 days and are taking longer. This in itself is quite significant and interesting. So, there's a backlog like this if we talk specifically about temporary visas. Temporary visas include study visas, work visas, and visitor visas. Currently, there is a total backlog of 1,366,000 temporary visa applications. Out of these, over 600,000 applications are beyond the standard service time. These applications won't be processed within the standard processing time, meaning their processing time will increase. This problem has been persistent for many months, even years, especially after COVID, as the processing time for temporary resident visa files in Canada has continuously exceeded the standard service time. If we compare the number of temporary resident visa files to the previous month, that is, June, it has increased by 11.8%. The reason for this is that a lot of visitor visa applications are currently being processed. I would like to inform you that IRCC's goal is to process 80% of the total applications within the service standard time, meaning the time they have set for processing these files. Except for temporary resident visas, all other categories have met this target, meaning most of their applications are being processed within the service standard time. However, there is one category, temporary resident visas, where there is a significant influx of applications, and as a result, they are not being processed on time. So, the backlog of temporary resident visa applications in Canada is increasing, and the processing time is also rising. In another update, the President of Universities Canada, who oversees all universities, has made a significant statement. He mentioned that if things continue as they are now, with fewer students taking admissions in Canada, the federal government's target of 600,000 applications after capping, with a goal of issuing 360,000 or 370,000 visas, will not be met. This is a major statement because it is understood that based on the current rate of applications, this target should be achievable. But this is actually a contradictory statement. While it's mentioned that fewer students are taking admissions in universities, on the other hand, the IRCC department has stated that the clarity on how many students are currently enrolling in Canada will only be clear after classes start in September. The exact number of students enrolled in Canadian universities or colleges and how much of the target remains will only be known once the September intake begins. Additionally, the President of Universities Canada has noted that sudden policy changes have caused confusion among students, making them uncertain about their future if they study in Canada. This uncertainty is contributing to the lower number of admissions. It remains to be seen whether IRCC will meet its target, even though they have reduced the numbers they aim to admit. Whether the reduced target will be met or not, whether the number of students enrolling in Canada will become clear in the coming days. The data for the first half of the year, that is first 6 months, which is of first 2 quarters, has already been shared. So far, 44,895 study permits have been issued, and the remaining permits are expected to be processed in the next 6 months. This number is surprisingly higher than expected for 2023. On one hand, it's said that fewer students are taking admissions, but on the other hand, the number of study permits issued in the first 6 months is higher than in 2023. However, most of the student files processed in these first 6 months were from applications submitted last year, with some for May intake and others for September intake. Therefore, the actual data will only become clear after the September intake, regarding how many students have enrolled in Canadian colleges and universities for the year 2024. We'll need to see in the coming days whether the IRCC in Canada can meet its target. Both updates are significant and should be shared. First update is that the backlog continues to grow, processing times will increase, and second update is Canada fails to meet its target, there could be a higher success rate for study visas. Please share this important information. If you have any questions regarding this video, please write them below and you'll get an answer.